Good morning. Today is the 22nd Sunday after Trinity, which means that we're getting to the tail end of the season of Trinity. We're already 22 Sundays in, well, more if you count some of the festivals that we have in this time. And the intent for today is right energy, which is a really good intent to have at this time of the year, because we're about to head into another major festival. We've got All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, which is celebrated as Halloween in many places. That's coming up. We've also got Advent coming up, which is the preparation season before Christmas. And essentially this intent that we have today of right energy is an intent of preparation for the preparation, because we're going to be preparing for Advent and for Christmas and for all of the wonderful things that happen over Christmas. And if you're a spiritual person, then it's a great time to actually go to church and to take advantage of the spiritual blessings that tend to permeate the world during this time. And to take full advantage of all of those blessings, we need to approach things with the right energy. And that's what this intent today is talking about. And it starts us off by asking the Lord to stir up within us the wills of thy faithful people so that we can bring forth the fruit of good deeds and become tireless workers in God's holy service. So straight away, we have this image of God stirring up our wills. And this is an important concept with this intent. Because when we're talking about right energy, and I'll get into the details later of what the Epistle and the Gospel say about it, and what constitutes right energy, and what we have to do to be acting with right energy, the important thing, though, is that we're talking about an application of will. When we're applying our energy to something, we're applying our will. And if our will is in the wrong direction, if we are not focusing our will towards godly things and spiritual things, then chances are we're not doing things with the right energy. If we're doing things for a selfish reason rather than to help other people, we're probably not doing things with the right energy. So what this intent is about is about bringing our will and our energy into alignment with God's. Now, we don't disappear in this process. Our will doesn't become nothing. Instead, our will gets added to God's will, and we become co-creators with God. So it's like riding a wave when you're surfing. You're not actually, losing, you don't disappear, you don't vanish, but you ride on the energy of that wave, and it carries you along. And if you apply the right amount of energy and energy at the right time, you can also move with that wave and perform tricks and create. And it's similar in life. If we act in accordance with God's will and in accordance with God's energy, and we add our will to God's, then we can create beautiful and wonderful things and very joyful experiences. So how do we know what is within God's will and what is going to be the right energy? Well, the Epistle and the Gospel give us some clues about this. And the Epistle in particular, I encourage you to check it out. It's St. Paul's Epistle to Titus, which isn't one that we have very often in our church, but it's got a bit of a laundry list of things that we should be doing. Speaking things that become sound doctrine, becoming a pattern of good works, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, and sound speech. And essentially the common thread with all of these things is truth, honesty, and sincerity. God loves truth, and God will not want us to lie. So if we're doing something and it feels a bit duplicitous or dodgy, we're probably not exercising the right energy, and we're probably not doing something that is in line with the will of God. Likewise, another important thing, and this is particularly important in the context of the season in which we find ourselves, when the veil between the physical and the spiritual worlds is a lot thinner, and when there's a lot of blessings that are coming our way, there's also a lot of negative influences that are coming our way. And what we need to remember is that we need to remain subject to principalities and powers and to obey magistrates. And that's not just being a law-abiding citizen in the physical world. That's also remembering our place in the spiritual hierarchy. And like I said before, when you're acting in accordance with God's will, it's like riding a wave. But God's will isn't the only wave that we're going to encounter. We're also going to encounter other influences, which aren't necessarily so positive. So we need to make sure that we keep our attention to spiritual things and to godly things so that we don't get swept away in the negative things. And the gospel here provides us with some more stuff that we can do. And this gospel has some very famous passages. It's from St. Luke, and it's got, love your enemies and do good and lend, hoping for nothing in return. We've got judge not, and ye shall not be judged, condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. These are some very famous passages. And essentially what Jesus is saying here is that in order to exhibit the right energy and act in alignment with God, don't try and do the judging job, because that is not our job. That is not our role. Our role in this world is to advance spiritually and to be custodians of the earth and to preserve it and to glorify and honour God. That is our role in this earth. None of that is judging. Spiritual evolution is a personal process, and we personally cannot know where somebody else is at in their spiritual journey, and we cannot judge them. Therefore, Jesus is telling us, don't put your energy and don't put your mind into judging other people, because he tells us right at the end here, for with the same measure that ye meet, withal it shall be measured to you again. And this is a statement which, in Eastern traditions, it's known as the law of karma. In the Christian tradition, we call it the universal law of cause and effect, which is essentially that whatever you do, it's going to be returned to you. If you exhibit good energy and the right energy, and you do things for the glory of God, then you will get joyous, glorious things returned to you. Instead, if you do selfish things and hurt other people and do bad things, then circumstances are going to change and you're not going to find yourself in such a good situation. But that is a process that happens through God. It is not something that humans do. It is not something that we're responsible for. So we shouldn't judge. Instead of judging and trying to force and change the shape of a wave, we need to ride with the wave so that we can then take full advantage of all of the blessings that are coming our way. So I encourage you to think about this, and as you're going about your day-to-day life, just think about the kind of energy that you're putting into everything and the reason why you're doing things. And if you're doing things for a good reason and for a helpful reason and a non-selfish reason, and you're glorifying God, then those things will be returned to you during this wonderful season that we're heading into. Thank you.